In the next few minutes, we're going to create this timeline presentation in Google Slides. To get started, let's go to slides.new to create a new presentation. From here, I'm going to close this templates tab on the right, and I'm going to select everything on this slide and delete it. Now let's start by choosing a background color for this slide. I'm going to choose this kind of bluey gray color here, but you could choose any color. I recommend doing a dark color for this. And then I'm going to go up to shapes here, and I'm going to create a circle. Now, when I create this circle, I'm going to click and drag whilst I'm holding the shift button on my keyboard. I want it to be about this big. I'm going to make the line transparent, and I'm going to change the color to this orange color here. Now let's go to the line tool and draw a line from the edge of this shape all the way to the right-hand side of my slide like this. And make it a bit thicker, maybe 4 pixels. Then change the line color to the same orange. Now let's start adding some content by adding a text box to put our title in here. Now, the title is going to be the year that needs to be at the top of this slide. So I'm going to choose the year 1998 for my presentation. Make the text white and choose the font that you want. And I'm going to make it a bit bigger. For me, I'm going with roughly size 60. I'm going to move this up slightly so it's a bit closer to this orange circle, and maybe I'll make the text box a bit smaller. Now I'm going to do the same again for a subtitle. So I click to choose text box, click just underneath and add my title. Again, I'm going to highlight all of the text. I do that by pressing Control or Command A if you're on a Mac. That selects all of the text. Then I can click the text color and change it to white and choose a slightly different font from before and increase the size as well. I want this to be on a single line, so I'm going to drag this title box out slightly and then move this up a bit closer to the year like this. Looking good so far. Now let's add a shape, and I'm going to go with a rounded rectangle. I always prefer rounded corners. Click on that one and drag out a rounded rectangle, roughly this big. I'm going to make the rounded corners slightly smaller using this yellow diamond here. I'm going to remove the line. I'm going to make it transparent, and I'm going to change the background color to white. Now I've got some text to put in here, so I'm going to double click and you could type out your text. I'm just going to paste mine in like this. And again, make it a little bit bigger, and I'm going to left justify the text, I think. I'm liking the design so far, but I'm going to do one more thing, which is add an image to the slide. So I've got an image here that I'm just going to paste in to my slide, and I think that looks good. So now what we need to do for the next part of our timeline is copy this entire slide to make life super easy to do the next step. So I'm going to right click on the slide over on the left here, and choose duplicate slide. That's given me an exact copy of the slide. And I'm just going to put in all of the information that I need for this next slide. So I update the year, I change the title, and I put in the new text in here as well. I don't want the same picture, obviously, so I'm going to delete that and put a different picture in too. And there's one key change that I'm going to make, which is I'm going to click this line at the top of the screen, go over to the left-hand side of it, and I'm going to drag it so that it goes to the edge of the slide like this. I like going just over the edge to make sure it's definitely going to work when we create our timeline transition in a moment. So we've got 2 of the slides so far. Going to do the same thing as before, just right click and duplicate, and then make all of my edits on this slide. And then I'm going to do my final slide, but you could keep going for as many as you want. Same again, right click and duplicate and update all of the information. Now this is really important. On this last slide, I'm going to click that line at the top here, and I'm holding shift on my keyboard whilst I click and drag the handle just so that it ends in the dot that we put at the top here. So we've got all of our content designed. All we need to do now is animate this so it looks like a really nice timeline presentation that's moving as we present it. So I'm just going to click on any of these slides over here and choose transition in the menu bar here. And at the moment, this says none. I'm going to click on there and choose slide from right. I can change the speed. I'm going to actually make it a bit slower. We're going to put it down to about 1.8 seconds and then choose apply to all slides. Now, if I go to slideshow, I can see that we've got a really nice timeline presentation that I can present to my audience. If you don't want to create all of that from scratch, you can click the link in the description to use what I've just created as a template for your own timeline as well. If that was helpful, I'd really appreciate that thumbs up, and let me know in the comments what you'd like to see next. I'll see you in the next one.